Hello, my name is Zach Gibbs, and I'm a content developer within education services inside Juniper Networks. And today we will be going through the Apstra Resources Creating IP Pools Learning Byte. Alright, so here is our topology. We have a few different devices that I want to talk about. We have spine 1 and spine 2, so two spine devices in our IP fabric, and then we have some leafs. We have leaf 1, leaf 2, leaf 3, and then border leaf 1. Now, leaf 1, 2, and 3, they connect into servers that are connected to the leafs at the bottom of this diagram. And then border leaf 1 is connected to an external router. And then the IP fabric devices, that is the spines and the leafs, are then connected together, of course. Each leaf is connected to each spine, as you can see. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because we are going to be creating some IP pools based on the different links types. For example, the internal links, which is marked in red up in the left corner, and you can see it is also marked in red on the topology, that's going to be pulled from the IP pool of 10.10.0.0/24. And then we have the server links at the bottom, which are green. You can see that in the legend up top in the left, and you can see that in the topology as well. That's going to use the 10.11.0.0/24. And then we have the external links that is only actually the one link from the border leaf 1 to the external router. We're going to pull that from the 172.16.0.0/24 IP pool, or we'll create an IP pool for that. And then we have some loopback IP pools. We have the spine loopbacks, which is going to be the 192.168.100.0/24, and the leaf loopbacks that are 192.168.111.0/24. And so we'll basically be creating 5 IP pools to draw IP addresses from for the different links in our IP fabric. Now, keep in mind that this learning byte is just focused on creating those IP pools and not necessarily using those resources. I'll have another learning byte later that will cover that. And so look out for that as well. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump to the Apstra web interface and get this going. All right, so here is the Apstra web interface. And here on the left, we need to select resources. And under resources, we have a few different options. We have ASN pools, VNI pools, IP pools, and IPv6 pools. Now we're focusing on IP pools. So let's select that. And we have nothing here, so what we need to do is we need to click the Create IP Pool button that we see here on the far right. And so we'll want to create our first IP pool, and that is going to be for our internal links pool. And recall that address was 10.0.0/24, that prefix that is. And we can add another subnet if we want, so we can actually pull IP pools from different subnets or from multiple subnets. And we're not going to do that here. We only need the one subnet. And so we want to create more than just this one, right? So we can select the create another option. And when we click create, we basically get the a blank create IP pool window. And that's great because we want to create the server links IP pool. And that's going to be 10.11.0.0/24. And let's click the create another checkbox again. And created that one. Let's create the external underscore links IP pool. That's going to be 172.116.0.0/24. And let's just click create here. Or actually, I do want to click create another. And we'll create the spine loopbacks next. And so call this spine loopbacks. And this is 192.168.100.0/24. And let's click create here. Now we still have one more to create, but I did this on purpose because I want to show the clone functionality. So we have spine loopbacks, and we know that, okay, the spine loopbacks IP pool is very similar to the leaf loopbacks IP pool. There's a little bit of a difference, but hey, let's just clone that. And so just make it a little easier on ourselves, save a little bit of time here. So we can select the clone button for the spine loopbacks IP pool. And it comes up with spine loopbacks copy, shows the same subnet. So we want to change this to leaf loopbacks, delete copy, and then we need to change the subnet we're using here and click clone. And when we do that, it automatically drops us into that IP pool. You can see up top here that we have the leaf loopbacks IP pool. So this is a great time to look at the details of an IP pool. And here we have the name. It's pretty straightforward. Status, it's not in use. We're not using this resource anywhere. And that can be important because we can do searches based on the status of the IP pool. And so if you have some IP pools that aren't in use and say you have a ton configured, you could just search on the status of not in use. And we'll look at that in a little bit. And then total usage, we can see here we have 256 IP addresses that we can use. 0 out of 256 are used. And then per subnet usage, well, it's the same thing, 0 out of 256, because we only have one subnet. We can have multiple subnets, and we'll look at that later. And so actually, let's do that right now. Let's add another subnet here. We have the leaf loopbacks. Say that, okay, we're going to have a ton of them or whatever. And so let's click the edit button. And here we can edit. We can change the name, change the subnet. We can also add a subnet here. And of course, you could add a subnet when you create it, or add an additional subnet, that is. So let's say 192.168.112.0/24 and click update. Now you'll see things have changed. Total usage, now we have 0 out of 512, so 512 available IP addresses. And then we can see the usage per subnet when we hover over it. And then let's go back to IP pools here. And then you can see the 5 different IP pools we created. Now those details are also visible here as well. And you can see the usage for each IP pool as well as the individual subnets. And as also the actual subnets that we're using here that we're pulling the IP addresses from. And so the next thing I want to show you how we can search the different subnets. We select query, defaults to all, so it's going to show everything. And we can specify the pool name. So let's say we want to look at anything that has links on it. So that basically excludes the loopback IP pools because they don't have links in the name. And so we can also, we'll get rid of that, and we can specify the status. Now, all of our IP pools are not in use, so the only option we have here is not in use. If it was in use, we'd have that option as well. So let's click not in use. If we click apply, it's going to show every pool that we have here because everything is not in use. And so finally, say you want to get rid of IP pools. What you can do here is just click delete and click delete. It's not in use, so we can get rid of it. Now let's delete this one as well. So that does bring us to the end of this Learning Byte. In this Learning Byte, we demonstrated how to create IP pools with Apstra. So as always, thanks for watching.
Visit the Juniper Education Services website to learn more about courses. View our full range of classroom, online, and e-learning courses. Learning paths, industry segment and technology-specific training paths. Juniper Network's certification program, the ultimate demonstration of your competence. And the training community, from forums to social media. Join the discussion.